The fascinating world of stamp collecting continues to attract historians, collectors, and investors alike, and among the many stamps that have captured attention is the 5-cent United States postage stamp featuring President Theodore Roosevelt. This classic stamp, with its deep ink color and strong portrait design, carries not just a face value of 5 cents, but a much greater value today in the collector's market. Welcome to Stamps Old World UK, where today we will explore the detailed history, features, and present-day market value in dollars of this incredible Roosevelt stamp. The stamp itself portrays Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, who is remembered for his leadership, his conservation efforts, and his famous role in American history as a bold reformer. The design is surrounded by intricate engravings, bold typography, and the words United States postage, with the denomination clearly shown as 5 cents. Collectors often admire not just the figure on the stamp, but the craftsmanship of the printing and the era it represents. Stamps like this were produced in large numbers for everyday postal use, but surviving examples in fine condition, especially those with sharp perforations, vivid ink, and centered printing, are the ones that hold significant appeal in the philatelic community. When it comes to market value, there are many factors that determine how much a Roosevelt 5-cent stamp is worth today. The condition is the most important factor. A heavily used or damaged stamp may only be worth a small premium above its face value, often a few dollars in today's market. On the other hand, stamps that remain in very good condition with minimal cancellation marks, strong color, and intact gum on the reverse can sell for much higher amounts. On average, collectors can expect these stamps to range between $5 to $50, depending on condition. However, exceptional specimens with rare printing errors, special cancellations, or proofs can fetch prices that soar into the hundreds of dollars at auctions or through specialized dealers. The rarity of the issue also contributes greatly to its value. While this Roosevelt 5-cent stamp is not among the rarest in American philately, it is highly collectible because it connects to a very popular U.S. president and represents a key period in early 20th century stamp design. Stamps from this period often capture interest from both American and international collectors, creating steady demand. For those who specialize in presidential issues or early 20th century series, this 5-cent Roosevelt is considered a staple. Some collectors even look for plate blocks, which are blocks of 4 or more stamps that still carry the plate number of the printing press. These blocks often have significantly higher value than single stamps and can be a true treasure in a philatelic collection. Another aspect that drives value is the historical context. Stamps are not just pieces of paper, but miniature historical documents that tell stories about leadership, communication, and culture. The Roosevelt stamp is admired for representing a president who is often celebrated for his progressive ideas and his role in building America's reputation on the world stage. For this reason, its value is not just in dollars, but also in the sense of history it carries. Collectors often purchase such stamps to connect with the story behind them, making them an investment in heritage as much as in money. Today, if you were to search for this Roosevelt 5-cent stamp on the collector's market, you would find listings in online auctions, dealer inventories, and specialized philatelic fairs. Common examples in fair to good condition may sell for around $5 to $15. Mint condition examples, which are those that have never been used and still have their original gum, usually start from $20 and can rise to $70 depending on how perfectly centered and well preserved they are. Very fine and rare varieties may be sold for over $100. In rare cases, particularly when tied to an envelope or first-day cover, the value can be much higher because postal history collectors are willing to pay a premium for context and originality. Investors in philately also keep an eye on stamps like this because they offer a steady appreciation in value over time.
While some rare stamps skyrocket to prices in the thousands or even millions, more common but popular issues like the Roosevelt 5-cent maintain a reliable collector's base. For anyone starting out in collecting, this is a perfect example of a stamp that balances affordability with strong historical importance. That makes it both a teaching tool and a valuable asset. In conclusion, the United States 5-cent Roosevelt stamp is worth much more than its original face value in today's market. Depending on the condition, rarity, and special features, its value ranges from a few dollars for common used versions to well over $100 for rare mint or specialized types. Collectors around the world continue to seek it out for both its monetary and historical significance, ensuring its place as a respected and admired piece of philatelic history.
Next up, the most respected and recognizable figures to ever appear on United States postage stamps, Theodore Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt. Both of these 5-cent stamps capture moments in history, reflect the values of their time, and continue to hold solid interest in today's philatelic market. As we explore them together, we will talk about their history, design, and most importantly, their current value in dollars for collectors around the world. We begin with Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, who is often remembered as one of the most dynamic leaders of the early 20th century. The 5-cent Roosevelt stamp was issued as part of the Definitive series that highlighted past presidents, and its design features a striking engraved portrait of Roosevelt framed by classical borders. This stamp was produced in multiple printings, often seen in shades of dark blue or deep indigo, and its bold look made it instantly recognizable in postal use. Roosevelt himself was a man of action, known for his progressive reforms, his leadership during the building of the Panama Canal, and his strong conservation efforts that helped establish the national park system. His presence on a stamp gave the issue more than just postal use. It gave it a sense of authority and national pride. The condition of the Theodore Roosevelt 5-cent stamp plays a huge role in determining its current market value. Common used examples, which may carry heavy cancellations or wear, often sell for just a few dollars, typically in the range of $2 to $5. However, stamps that are well preserved with light cancellations, good centering, and strong color are valued much higher, ranging from $10 to $30. Mint condition examples, which have never been used and still have their original gum, are particularly desirable and often trade between $20 and $100 depending on their sharpness and rarity. Collectors also highly prize plate blocks, multiples, and rare varieties or misprints, some of which can sell for several $100s at specialized auctions. Now let us turn to Eleanor Roosevelt, a figure who was every bit as influential in her own right. While Theodore was a president remembered for his bold leadership, Eleanor was remembered as a humanitarian, a reformer, and one of the most active and admired first ladies in history. The 5-cent Eleanor Roosevelt stamp was issued in a bright and attractive color purple, with her smiling portrait displayed alongside her name and the denomination. This was not just a stamp to honor a first lady, but to celebrate her lifelong work in advancing human rights, equality, and global cooperation. Eleanor Roosevelt played a central role in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights at the United Nations, and her voice gave power and dignity to causes around the world. From a collector's perspective, the Eleanor Roosevelt stamp is both affordable and significant. Used examples are quite common and often valued at $1 to $3. Mint condition stamps are more desirable and usually sell in the range of $5 to $15, depending on centering and gum condition. First-day covers, where the stamp is attached to an envelope with a first day of issue cancellation, can often reach $20 to $50, especially if preserved in excellent condition. While it does not reach the higher valuations of some rarer early 20th century stamps, its appeal lies in its historical significance and the way it captures the legacy of one of the most respected women in modern history. Comparing the two, Theodore Roosevelt's 5-cent stamp generally holds a slightly higher value, especially for mint condition or rare varieties, because of its age and popularity in Definitive series collections. Eleanor Roosevelt's stamp, while more modern, is valued for its cultural and historical importance, and it continues to be an essential part of thematic collections focused on women leaders, human rights, or American history. Together, they represent a powerful story of leadership, progress, and service, one from the early 20th century and the other from the mid-20th century. Collectors often treasure having both stamps in their albums as they showcase two remarkable figures who shaped history in very different but equally important ways. In today's market, the range for both of these stamps is generally modest, making them accessible to new collectors while still providing experienced philatelists with opportunities to acquire high-grade examples. Theodore Roosevelt's 5-cent stamp can be worth anywhere from a few dollars for common used copies to over $100 for well-preserved mint examples and even more for rare varieties. Eleanor Roosevelt's 5-cent stamp, while typically ranging from $1 to $15, holds strong collector demand, particularly for blocks, covers, and error types that can rise well above $50. For collectors who value not only the stamp itself, but also the story it tells, both issues are must-haves. In conclusion, the 5-cent Roosevelt stamps, both Theodore and Eleanor, are not just pieces of postage, but living reminders of history. They connect us to two extraordinary individuals, one a president who reshaped American politics and conservation, the other a first lady who became a global voice for justice and human rights. Their stamps continue to hold firm value in today's market, both in dollars and in historical importance. For anyone building a serious collection, these stamps are more than worth owning, and they continue to stand as small but powerful testaments to the lives they honor. Thank you for joining me on Stamps Old World UK, where we bring the stories and market values of historic stamps to life. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of rare and fascinating stamps from across the globe.
Next up is the striking 5-cent purple United States postage stamp featuring Eleanor Roosevelt. This beautiful issue is not only a collectible treasure, but also a reminder of a remarkable woman whose contributions to society and history remain timeless. Welcome to Stamps Old World UK, and today we will explore the fascinating history, design, and market value of this Eleanor Roosevelt 5-cent postage stamp in today's collector market, measured in dollars. Eleanor Roosevelt, often described as the most influential First Lady in American history, transformed the role of the First Lady from a largely ceremonial position into one of activism, influence, and global engagement. She was the wife of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, but more importantly, she was a leader in her own right. Eleanor worked tirelessly for human rights, women's equality, education, and the welfare of the poor and disadvantaged. She was instrumental in shaping the Universal Declaration of Human Rights after World War II, which remains one of the most important documents in the history of the United Nations. It is no surprise, then, that the U.S. Postal Service honored her with a stamp, allowing her image and legacy to live on through philately. The design of the Eleanor Roosevelt stamp is simple yet elegant. Printed in a deep purple shade, the stamp shows Eleanor with a warm and smiling expression, reflecting her approachable personality and her role as a humanitarian. The denomination is clearly marked as 5 cents, alongside the words U.S. postage and her name in bold capital letters. Unlike many stamps that highlight presidents, generals, or political figures, this one celebrates a woman whose achievements were rooted in compassion, activism, and leadership, making it stand out in any collection. When it comes to market value, much depends on the condition of the stamp. Used examples, which have been canceled through postal service, are quite common and generally worth only a small premium above their original face value. These typically sell for about $1 to $3. However, mint condition examples, especially those that have never been hinged and still retain their original gum, are more valuable. A clean, well-centered mint Eleanor Roosevelt stamp can range from $5 to $15 in today's collector market. Blocks of 4 stamps or first-day covers, where the stamp is still attached to an envelope with its original first-day cancellation, can fetch higher prices, often ranging from $20 to $50, depending on their rarity and preservation. The appeal of this stamp, however, goes beyond pure monetary value. Collectors are drawn to the Eleanor Roosevelt issue because of its symbolic importance. Stamps are often called windows into history, and this one captures the story of a woman who used her influence not for personal gain, but for the betterment of society. Collectors who focus on stamps featuring women, world leaders, or advocates of human rights often place the Eleanor Roosevelt 5-cent issue at the heart of their thematic collections. Its striking purple color also makes it visually distinctive, adding to its desirability in any album. In auctions and specialized stamp shows, you may occasionally see rare varieties or misprints of the Eleanor Roosevelt stamp, such as color shifts or printing errors. These are much less common and can significantly increase the value. While a regular stamp in mint condition may be valued at $10, an error version could sell for $100 or more, depending on how unusual and rare the error is. Collectors are always on the lookout for these hidden gems, and it is this potential for discovery that makes stamp collecting such an exciting pursuit. From an investment standpoint, the Eleanor Roosevelt 5-cent stamp represents steady and moderate value growth. While it may not reach the sky-high prices of 19th-century classics, its enduring appeal lies in its connection to a universally respected figure. Over time, as more collectors seek stamps that represent themes of equality, justice, and human rights, demand for issues like this one will continue to rise. For new collectors, this stamp offers an affordable entry point into philately while also carrying a deep historical significance. In today's market, the Eleanor Roosevelt 5-cent stamp can be said to range from $1 for common used examples to as high as $50 or more for pristine first-day covers and rare varieties. Its value lies not only in dollars, but in the powerful story it represents. By owning this stamp, collectors preserve a piece of history that speaks of progress, reform, and the strength of an individual who reshaped expectations for women in politics and beyond.